Well, this is Austin Gardner, your host of Followed by Mercy. And today I am joined by one of my favorite people in the world. She probably got really stuck when God gave her a father-in-law, but this is Katie Gardner. She's David's wife, and David and Katie have three fantastic children, especially Chloe, who's sitting here right now giving a big thumbs up. And so they're all here visiting while David is down in Peru. He is at the Youth Congress. And so, Katie, why don't you just give a word to start?
Well, hello. As my wonderful father-in-law said my name already, I walked into his house a few minutes ago and he decided to hook me up to a microphone. So we were about to see what happens. I was not expecting this, but always happy to have a conversation and hopefully be able to help some people. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, just going to kind of see what we dive into and what we talk about. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, first, I think maybe it wouldn't hurt to give just a little bit of a background on who you are. You and David have been married how long now?
Almost 20 years. March will be 20 years for
March
us.
will be 20.
Yep, it's a big one.
You're an
I'm
old
excited.
lady.
I know.
You are an old
I'm
lady.
getting on up there.
And you have three children, and they are how old?
Three wonderful kids. Chloe just turned 15, Allie's almost 13, and James is 9.
And what's really dangerous is Chloe now has a learner's permit.
Mm.
All right. Now, where do y'all serve? Tell me just a little bit about that.
We are currently in the United States on our furlough. We got back at the end of May, but we live full-time in Peru, South America, in a city called Arequipa. It's a pretty big city in the southern part of the country, the second largest in the country, of about 2 million people-ish. And we have the privilege of living there, working in churches. My husband is a pastor at Omega Baptist Church and is also the director of Macedonia Seminary there in Arequipa. And so we stay pretty busy between that, the church, kids, and any other opportunities that present. And we really enjoy it. They got
a lot of things. You're fixing to try to start a Christian school, right?
Lord willing, yeah. We would like to be able to do that in the coming future, in the coming days.
Well, so there's a lot of exciting things going on, and Katie has become more Peruvian in a lot of ways, I think, and she's a fantastic missionary wife. And I really wanted to bring her on here today to talk to you because this is Followed by Mercy. And maybe the reason I'm still living with the cancer and all the stuff, and maybe the reason I'm as healthy as I am, is I changed my diet. And so 2 years ago, this October, I was in Arequipa, and Katie had just recently started, 3 or 4 months before that, the carnivore diet. And so, Katie, that's what I really want to talk about. I really think if you're listening, and if Katie will loosen up and tell the truth and just share her heart, it changed me. I think it's changed her, and it's changed other people we know. And so, and I think it has really a mercy that came my way. So, Katie, tell us, why did you go on the carnivore diet?
So for a lot of my life, I think I struggled with a variety of health issues, some not so severe, some more severe. But in the last couple years leading up to that extreme change, I was really frustrated with how I felt, my energy, my sleep. I felt like I had hormonal imbalances, just, so many different things. And I realized that there were actually more things than I knew. Once I started feeling better, I realized that some of the things that I just thought were normal and just a part of, I guess getting older, were actually things that weren't normal and could be reversed. And so I had become really frustrated with my doctors. I'd had so much blood work done. I had even gone and checked for a rare disease that my brother might have had, called hemochromatosis, just to make sure that wasn't a thing. So I was really like grasping at straws, seeing a lot of different doctors, different specialties. And every single bit of blood work I got back basically told me that everything was in normal ranges and they didn't really know what to tell me. And basically just kind of threw their hands up and were like, you look good. And I was like, well, I don't feel good. So
Now, you already had two problems that we knew of that were pretty established, right? Gluten.
right. I had discovered I had a sensitivity to gluten, unfortunately, and a thyroid condition. From that all started, probably in my teenage years, but was diagnosed and treated when I was about 24.
Now,
I
you
think.
had just had a baby, wasn't it?
Yes,
If
right after Chloe was born. So I knew I had the
Was it
problem.
Chloe?
Yes, I knew I had the problem
It
with
was you brought
Chloe.
on the problem.
Yeah, it was all Chloe's fault. No, I had it before Chloe, but after Chloe was born,
You couldn't touch her.
No, I was able to be treated, but I had to be treated with radioactive iodine. And so, yeah, I was basically radioactive for a few days is what that meant. But my thyroid was so crazy overactive that's how they treat that. And so, yeah, when Chloe was about 3 months old, 4 months old-ish, I had that done and had to be like isolated for a few days. And then since then, that's been pretty well controlled. Haven't had any problems. So yeah, those two things have been like long-term things.
But those are actually pretty easy solutions compared to taking a drastic step. So why did you jump on? What made you say carnivore? You could have gone vegetarian or vegan,
right?
or you could have tried something else.
Yeah. Well, first of all, ew.
Huh?
I said first of all, ew. But no. Okay, so social media is ridiculous and there's so many things about social media I don't like, but I was on social media and came across a page of a girl that was doing some bizarre diet. And I thought it was the carnivore diet. And I thought it was so strange and couldn't believe that someone would eat that way. I thought this is absurd. It's not balanced. How do you get what your body needs by just eating basically meat and animal products? It just seemed really strange to me. And for whatever reason, I saw her a couple times on my page and I decided to investigate just for like sheer curiosity because I just thought it was weird and bizarre. So the more I dove in, the more I realized like a good amount of people seem to be doing this for a variety of reasons, including autoimmune disorders, hormone imbalances, problems with skin like eczema, psoriasis, acne, anything skin related. Other chemical imbalances.
I was talking to somebody this week that had done the carnivore because of us. And right now they're off again. And they said, boy, when I look back at my pictures, I could even tell my skin was so much better.
Yeah. People have told me that I look.
It was a lady that told me that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's a ton of different reasons that a ton of different people were doing it. But I just thought it was really odd. So because I was kind of at my wit's end, very disenchanted with the medical field at that point and the lack of help I was getting. I started looking into it and listening to doctors who were big advocates of this diet, like not just like health people, but like actual doctors who were explaining to me why they liked this diet, why it worked, and why people were seeing results. And so I talked to David, my husband. I was like, I think I'm going to try this for a month and just see how it goes because you can do anything for a month and not mess yourself up too bad, right? You can drink Diet Coke and eat Wendy's for a month and probably not kill yourself. So I was like, I can always stop. So yeah, I started my experiment and it was pretty rough. I'm a very black and white, in and out type of person. I don't tend to ease into things as you are. So you can't, chuckle too hard at me because you're the same way. But I cut everything off basically from one day to the next. I went from eating your typical standard Western diet, all the carbs, all the sugar, all the whatever I felt like, to nothing but mostly red meat, eggs, some cheese. I ate chicken and pork. I really had no idea what I was doing and what I needed to be eating, but I was like, I'm going to do it. So it was pretty rough. For about 3 weeks, I was very sick, low energy, hungry a lot because I didn't know what I was doing. And
some people get diarrhea for a whole month.
Oh yeah. Well, I did that too. It was really rough.
I don't think I had that problem. I got constipated.
Well, I was struggling to the point I told David, I said I'm going to give it a month. I'm going to give it a month. If I get to a month.
Bless God, what Katie says.
Oh my goodness. I said, if if I get to a month and I still feel like this, I'm done. Like I can't keep living this way because I was irritable with my kids. I was tired all the time. I didn't feel like doing anything ever.
I
And it was
think
just rough.
I think Andrea did this, and she
She
had
had a
no
rough time.
energy.
Yeah, it was rough. I
She couldn't
remember.
stand it.
Yeah, it was horrible. And so I felt worse than I did before I went on. And they call that, that cute little name, keto flu. I didn't think it was keto flu, but I was online. I was looking stuff up. I was like, how long is this supposed to last? And people were like, oh, it lasted 5 days. It lasted a week. And I'm like, I'm almost at a month and I'm done. What's wrong with me? So after a month, though, I began to notice some changes in my sleep and waking up in the morning and not feeling like groggy and like I could sleep another 2 hours, like getting up. And then I would stay up all day. I didn't need like my afternoon nap. Like I was like, oh, I can just, I can keep doing whatever. I don't feel like I need to go lay down. And then I began to feel better in just a variety of different ways. The first initial ways were my energy and my sleep. I noticed a difference and I really liked that. I had like really good sleep at night, it felt like, and really good energy during the day. And so from my 1 month experiment, I told David, I said, I think I might go for 3 months and see what happens in 3 months since I'm starting. So I don't really want to cut it off yet because I'm starting to feel better. And that was now over 2 years ago, and I'm still running the experiment, I guess. So,
So when did you start?
I started on July 6th, I think.
August, September, October. So 3
Yes.
months in.
July
3 months.
6th.
I got in there
23.
3 months later.
Yep.
And by then you were feeling good.
Yes. By then I was like,
And you'd learned.
yeah, I'd learned some stuff because I was eating a lot more lean at first. I didn't realize that if you're not eating carbohydrates, you got to have the fat if you're going to have energy. And so I learned that eating a lot of butter, the more fatty cuts of meat, not such lean chicken. When I ate chicken, I don't eat a ton of chicken. But yeah, and cooking in good healthy fats also was like a big deal. But initially I didn't know anything. I was just like fumbling around in the dark, listening to stuff, reading stuff, trying to figure it out as I went along.
I'm going to be doing this with her maybe 2 or 3 episodes. And so we'll talk about it in just a minute. But since this is even our first one, why don't you tell them a couple of 3 people they ought to look up that they might want to consider, because they can get them on YouTube. They're everywhere, right?
Yeah. So some of the people that I listened to initially that I really liked were Ken Berry. He's a family doctor.
Ken, Ken, Berry, Berry.
Yes, Ken Berry.
They can find him easily on YouTube.
Yes, he's mostly on YouTube. He doesn't have like an actual podcast like some of the other doctors, but Ken Berry is a really good one.
I really like him, and he's from Tennessee.
He's from Tennessee, yeah.
So
he's
I really
a country
like
boy. Yes, I like him a lot. But he made everything that seemed like it should be really complicated. Like he put it down at a level where I could understand it and gave really simple instructions on how to start and how to maintain. So he was really good. I also listened to a guy named Anthony Chafee, who's another doctor. He's a brain surgeon, actually, and he's a really big.
How do you spell that?
So that Anthony and then Chaffee, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Okay. Anthony Chafee. Right. I think it's Chafee. He's another good one. Someone else that I listened to initially.
You don't listen to Sean Baker?
Sean Baker, I have some, but I never really listened. Not for any particular reason. Just didn't ever really.
For a guy that's thinking you'd be weak, Sean Baker's like 50-something years old.
Oh my goodness, he's like a record-setting machine too. He does all this weightlifting, competitive stuff. Yeah, he's crazy.
And he's only carnivore.
Yes, he is very strict. Like he doesn't. I think he only eats steak, if I'm not mistaken. So he doesn't dabble in a whole lot of anything else, even like the cheese and the eggs and all that.
And they could also look up, if they were interested, they could go Jordan Peterson.
Oh, Jordan Peterson and his daughter Michaela both have very interesting stories about what the carnivore diet did for them. And that was really interesting to me to listen to, especially Michaela, who had her lifelong health struggles and surgeries and things from the time she was a child and how she maintains good health
Wasn't
now.
it something like she had a bunch of joints and bones?
Yeah, it was some kind of arthritis, but it was, I think, degenerative. And so it was going to affect her the rest
It
of her
was
life.
destroying her life.
Yeah, basically. So, yeah, they're both really good people to listen to. They both talk about it. I think she does more than he does. But she's a really big advocate because it completely changed
But he
her
has
life.
a little bit. You can find him on YouTube also. About
Oh yeah, he's everywhere. I think she is. She's pretty easy to find as well on social media, YouTube. If you Google her name, she's a pretty big deal, I think. So she should be easy to find.
So before we get off, tell them give us, somebody listening, I want you to understand it helped. And we'll talk about the things that maybe Katie got a victory over later. I will say this for any of you listening, I've got cancer, and you know what feeds cancer more than anything is sugar.
Mm.
And everything turns to sugar, but that's how your body operates, except protein. And so your body is trained to live off of protein. Can you give them a couple of minute explanation of the difference? Because you're using protein and ketosis.
Yeah, you're mostly, because of the high fat and the high protein, you're mostly in a state of ketosis pretty much all the time. I mean, you can come in and out of it. It's not like I'm probably not constantly 100% of the time in ketosis, but I spend a lot of time in ketosis. And because there's no sugar and starches going into my body is fueled by, fat. My fat reserves and the fat that I take in. And there is some, I don't have all the articles here in front of me right now, but I have seen there's some interesting articles and doctors studying this in reference to different cancers and seeing how the lack of sugar and a state of ketosis is very beneficial for different cancers, different illnesses. I think they know this in children with epilepsy. They've, for a long time now, recommended a ketogenic diet for epileptic seizures and seeing great results. But now the field seems to be spreading a bit more and looking into therapeutic benefits for other diseases like cancer and even prevention of Alzheimer's and brain degeneration, neurodegenerative diseases, and things like that. So it's very interesting, but I think it's probably more in early stages.
I would like to say to any of you listening, the one interesting thing is if you check out, there's a guy on the web that's got Chris Beat Cancer, I believe it's called. And, he's a vegan or a vegetarian, one or the other. But the one thing that everybody that I read after that's beaten cancer would tell you, no refined foods and no sugar.
Yeah.
And I would just say this to you, if after you've listened to us just chew the fat, if you say, I'm not interested in being a carnivore, at least consider how much sugar you're putting in.
Yeah.
Because I'm eating up with cancer and you don't want to be there. All right. Any further things on this particular episode, Katie?
I don't know. I don't know if you have anything else you want to know.
Okay. I'll tell you what, we will talk on the very next one, but could you give them a rundown what you eat?
Yeah. So I eat a lot of ground beef. I make burgers. I make meatballs.
It's so expensive if you're a carnivore.
Yes.
Very, very.
I mean,
it's much more expensive.
It can be, especially if you're eating steak all the time. So I'm the only one in my family that eats strictly this way. I do feed my family a more meat-heavy diet now and definitely less sugar, less junk food and all that. Sometimes my kids complain. They're like, you just want us to be a carnivore? And I'm like, I wish, but I do try to feed them healthier. But I mean, there's a lot of recipes out there, but I would say I eat a lot of ground beef, eggs. I love bacon. I still drink coffee.
That's your one sin for the carnivore, right?
I love my coffee. But to be fair,
tell them how weird your coffee is.
3 different times I have gone off of coffee to try to see if I felt any different, because I'm willing to give up whatever if I can feel better. And I saw no difference. And these were spans of 1 week to 3 weeks. I would go off one time a month, I think, and just never really felt the difference. So, but yes, my coffee is loaded full of butter and heavy cream, and that is how I like to drink it.
Everybody listening, does that sound weird to you? Because it sounds weird to me.
It does sound
But
weird.
you've taught your mother-in-law to do the same things.
Yes, she likes it.
So
now.
why don't you, when you say, but so you just take a stick of butter and stick it in your coffee?
No, if we're talking a stick of butter, I'd say about a fourth of a stick, maybe.
Can you believe that? A fourth of a stick melted into your coffee.
I love the butter. But see, when I get up in the morning, that's like my first boost of energy. Like I can drink that. And because it's so much fat, like I have energy for forever after that. And a wonderful thing about this that I feel like I just absolutely love eating this way. My blood sugar stays so stable that even when I'm hungry, I don't feel an urgent need to eat. I can wait. Like for the first time in my life, I don't deal with hypoglycemia.
So you don't have hangry?
No, not anymore. I used to. Oh yeah, I used to big time. Like I've got to eat now or I'm going to kill you or die or something, you know, but now I have the stable blood sugar. So I get in the morning, I have my coffee with my heavy cream and butter and I'm good for a while. And then
for breakfast, you'll put on a bunch of eggs.
If I do eat breakfast, I love eggs and bacon. Yes. Eggs and bacon are a staple in my house along with ground beef. I don't eat a ton of expensive steaks. I do like pork and chicken. Also, I love chicken wings and I love pork belly. But I would say most of what I consume is red meat and just a lot of ground beef cooked a lot of different ways. Tacos, meatballs, burgers. What else have I done? I don't know. Different like soups and different things. I don't know. I have a whole list of recipes I follow, but it's not super expensive. It's not outrageous. To eat this way either. I mean, if you're going to eat filet mignon every day, yes. But, you know, there are definitely ways to do it where you're not.
Let's be honest, though. What do you spend on sodas?
Oh, my goodness. I don't drink sodas.
But they do. I'm talking about regular people listening are saying it's real expensive.
I have no idea what people spend on sodas in a week.
Okay.
Or chips. Or cereal. Yeah, I don't know.
They're going to have cereals.
Cereal's expensive though.
Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts. It all adds up. It all adds up. And I know for a fact that I eat less times a day than everyone else in my family because I'm not hungry. I eat well. I eat usually twice a day, no snacks. And I'm not hungry. I'm not hangry. I'm not having blood sugar issues. I'm not even thinking about food. I'm just living my life.
Well, I want to, I think what she just said there, she doesn't, it's not about food anymore, right?
Yeah, it's not. And
it's always been about food for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lost probably 80 pounds from my height, my highest. And I mean, it's always been about food. When I found out my cancer was back in it, they didn't think there was much hope. I told Betty, I said, well, I'm just going to enjoy it till I die. And so I gained a lot of weight, mushroomed up. And then Katie goes, hey, Dad, what about it? So.
Yeah. Well, it is nice. For me, I was definitely someone that thought about food a lot. I love food. I like all kinds of different types of foods, flavors, fusions, textures, like all of it. And so I think for me, it was really difficult to wrap my head around being so what some people would consider restrictive. But at the end of the day, what I found was freedom from like obsessing over it, the blood sugar, the being the hungry all the time, the not feeling well after, the bad sleep, the low energy. And so now I get to do a lot of things that I love. And I thank God that, you know, I have good energy to be able to spend time with my kids, to enjoy being around my husband and not feeling like, you know, I'm moody or crashing or need a break from everyone or whatever. So I traded my love for food for a more energetic and content life, I would say.
Okay, I want to talk about all that. And I want to talk to him about, I mean, I really think it should be, this is followed by Mercy podcast, and that's what I'm calling it now. And I think that learning the diet really changes your life in more than diet. And so I now would say I eat to live. I used to live to eat. I think that's totally changed. It's like, honestly, you're not tempted with some of that. But anyway, we'll get to that next time. And I thank you for listening. And I want to challenge you to consider the idea of the carnivore diet. If you'll come back, we're going to talk about what it does to your emotions. We're going to talk about what it does to your spiritual life. And then we're going to talk about some of the different things that we've seen change in people's lives because they went on the carnivore diet. And, you know, honestly, I believe I've done a whole lot on here about the Lord as my shepherd, and I would just say to you, I believe he leads us and shows us where to go. I believe God he worked in Katie's life, most wonderful ladies I've ever known. He worked in her life, but then God used her to show me, and I thought she was crazy, but because it was Katie, it was like my daughter. I said, no, I'm going to do what she says. And I did it for a month, and now it's been a year, and well, it'll be 2 years in October. So you come back. I really think it'll be good. Share this with somebody, and we'll talk about it again tomorrow. God bless you.